We'll get a special guest, now legal practitioner and political analyst, Oga Evans Ufeli. He for studio with us. And now for us to do it in looking at his legal experience and looking at the fact that politically, he also at least they show that interest, he know him well. I will go ask him all questions we concern this matter. We could also gather his own experience from him because instead of now lawyers to talk, we could also gather that experience from him. So, Oga Evans, you're welcome to Ask in the Hot.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. We could not waste time. We could just go straight into the conversation. We start first with the whole jubilation. Many people, they throw some assault when President Muhammadu Buhari carrying golden pen sign this Electoral Act into law. Say, okay, oh, this thing now go be the law inside the country. Even though he talks some kind of things that time, say, he not happy with this thing, inside now. And the reason why people, they throw back flip that time now, because of, say, this talk not be something we start this 2020 or even 2021. Now, something we even start before the last election. When he been look, say, election done here, make we not allow this thing cause problem. Barrister, make we ask you, what be the things when they inside this Electoral Act of 2022, when go make at least, or if we want to look the good side, make Nigerians belly sweet, say, if this law, we do the thing well, the way when it's supposed to, election go they kajad inside this our country, especially with the eye where they put for 2023.
Well, the new Electoral Act 2022 brought a lot of innovations, okay? Innovation will mean changes, so many changes in the Electoral Act to up the ante. That is, to
improve
sanitize and improve our electoral process. One of which is transmission of result, electronic transmission of result. So as it is today now, it's unnecessary to carry ballot box because if you carry it and run with it, you can't come to the polling unit with physical materials. So
they could just send the result, pim, it don't enter.
So it is only results that are available at the polling units that can be transmitted electronically to the collation center. Unlike before, where you snatch the ballot box, take it to somewhere, do all the printing there, and then take it back to the collection center, and then force INEC to include those numbers of results, and then force them to announce it as part of the process. But now you don't have that again.
So technology now don't enter now?
Yes, technology has breached that gap. That security risk situation have been, cured by, the new Electoral Act. Then you also have other innovations. Many of them, there you have now the issue of vote buying is also being checked because now you have security gadgets in the polling units, okay, that we, look at the process. And then people are also allowed to use their gadget to also cover the process to ensure that nobody is doing the wrong thing at the polling unit. And then the riverine areas, there's logistic improvement in the act to ensure that there's smooth running of election and electioneering in those areas. So it's actually an improvement. There are lots in it that is good for us as a democratic society. But conversely, we also have the bad side of it.
That one means everything will get good, get bad.
Yes.
Tell us some of this bad side.
Well, one of the most controversial now is that the Section 8412 that says that if you're a political appointee, that means if you're already serving as a government official, okay, and you want to contest for election, you will need to resign first, okay, before you do that. Now, so many persons say that is discriminatory. It's discriminatory in the sense that some persons are disenfranchised just because they are serving the government, okay? Now, somebody went to court, the Federal High Court at Umuahia, and then the court gave a judgment, delivered a judgment and said that section of the law is contrary to the Constitution and therefore it should be deleted. Okay. Already, the president, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, after signing the Electoral Act, asked the National Assembly to delete that same section Okay? But I think this whole problem we're having now came from the president. Because he had vetoed the Electoral Act 4 times. Veto means, for the benefit of viewers, veto means rejected it. He has rejected it 4 times before it was at the 5th attempt. I think he came under pressure because civil society were on the street 2 days to the day he signed it. That if he fails to sign it, there's going to be a problem. So possibly that may have stirred up some pressure in him, even while he saw this thing that there is a problem somewhere. He signed it into law and then asked the National Assembly to amend. He ought to have vetoed it that day and then let them take it back for the 6th time.
But Barrister, no vex, so make I ask you.
That's that.
The thing na problem, I mean a good thing. For example, if they appoint you, say, okay, oh, they work for government, person when they voting appoint you, and you can't get interest to contest election. Sure, you know, be good thing, say, okay, oh, yeah, leave the work. Go face this your election. Because, for example, we don't see people when we say, maybe them be ministers. If like say they don't leave the ministry. Now, Enugu today, or your tomorrow, Lagos today, this one tomorrow. Why you get the right to contest? Share the thing go affect your work, and the person who put you there, he go happy as the thing they affect your work.
Well, you see, you can say it's good. Some other persons will say it's bad because the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, under Fundamental Rights, Chapter 4, has given every citizens of Nigeria the right to aspire to any position. Okay, so the fact that somebody is appointed or already an appointee of government, and that will become the basis of disenfranchising him, is what people are saying, okay, no, this is not right. Now, the man who went to court to that effect brought that action on the basis of fundamental rights of this set of persons, because you have cut off certain persons. Morally speaking, the right thing should have been, if you want to contest, you resign, morally. But you see, morality is not always at the lying point of law. Okay, you see, if I am walking past the street, maybe across the street, and maybe there is a sea somewhere, and a child is in that sea about to be drowned, and I walk past, and I have not committed any offense, if the child eventually dies. But if I'm walking past that place,
your conscience,
and I look at that child, and I go there and rescue the child, okay, I am only morally right for what I have done, okay? And possibly people will say, okay, you did the right thing. But if I refuse to do that, I have not broken any law whatsoever. So that is why you see morality and law, they are a word apart. Sometimes they meet, and other times they are away. The argument is that if you say people who already have appointment, who are already appointed, should not at all, okay, they have to resign first. The question is, where do you now keep your law that talks about equality, equality in society? If you want to have a balanced society, everybody should have a fair share of the laws the way it is. But if you bring that up, then at the end of the day, what you are doing is that in one breath, you are discriminating some persons, which is contrary to Section 42(1) of the Constitution. And in another breath, you are alleviating others.
Unkubi, I no verso. Barrister. Now, the Constitution talk say this person get the right. The Electoral Act, they talk say make the, if the two now come be like say one they go left, one they go right. But with what in the appeal court talk today say the way when the law day now, make them leave them the way when the thing day. This thing not go cause confusion for future.
No, see what the appeal court did today. Let's be clear on what the appeal court did. The appeal court today set aside the judgment of the court in Umuahia.
Okay.
On the basis that the lawyer who went to court have no cause of action. That's one. Two, he lacks local standard. What they call local standard in law is the capacity, legal capacity to bring that action. Okay? The Court of Appeal said he does not have it. Okay? But the Court of Appeal now went ahead to say that the issue in question 2, that is the issue we're talking about, issue under reference, is also against Section 21 of Section 42 of the Constitution. I don't know how you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, he went ahead to also condemn that provision, okay, which the Federal High Court in Umuahia had already said they should delete.
Okay, I mean, Barris, may I quickly ask? If you look the electoral law, also covering the Constitution. Okay, but now these two things, now they cause all these conflicting this thing. But as a lawyer, I'm also come present to the system. What is supposed to be the priority? What is supposed to come first? What people supposed to look, okay, based on the nation where they inside though, see what is supposed to come first as law before any other law. You know to say the law where they guide the country supposed override any other law, no matter where it comes from, based on this.
That is the position. Section 1, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution said this Constitution is supreme. And its provision shall have a binding force on all persons and authority throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 1, subsection 3 says, if any law is inconsistent with the provision of this Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail. That other law, to the extent of its inconsistency, shall be void.
But based on this, why be say, okay, why be say lawyers can't they give different interpretation to them? Shouldn't I based on say the schools where they go law study their own law? Not be the same school where this country, not the same school, all the schools not in this country. They've almost the same book, the same law book now everybody use. So why we say this one will bring interpretation, it go different from what this one bring. Now literature we don't turn them into.
No, nothing is settled in law.
Nothing is settled in law.
It depends on what you can prove. Law is the highest reasoning embedded by nature, which permits what should be done and forbids the contrary. It is not about what the law says. It is about what you can prove with what the law has said. You see, the law is not ambiguous. It's clear. But what lawyers do is to look at the loopholes of laws and then argue their cases based on provisions of law and the shortcomings of law.
But Barrister, make I ask this question. If we get people when we call lawmakers, and now their work to make law, not necessarily say all of them be lawyers, but they go get understanding of the law.
Yes.
If they see our constitution, when the constitution sit down, say everybody get the right, they come on make another one. The other one when they come make, knowing say the constitution they supreme to any other thing. Come be like say he get K-leg. Shouldn't I say they don't do their homework well?
Yeah, they didn't do their homework well. That is it. Because you see, when the president identified in lawmaking, in legal drafting, and there's what we call comparative analysis. Once the lawmakers come up with a legislation today, that these are the provisions of the law, they have to pass it to another committee that will take that law and look at all the laws of the federation to ensure that that law is not in conflict with another law. So now there's a conflict of law here because that homework, that research, you know, because you see, discrimination falls under fundamental rights, okay? And when you do that at that level, you are creating problems. That is why the lawyer went to court and said, get it deleted, okay? That's why the president, I want to give credit to the legal team at the presidency that identified that and then informed the president that that section is discriminatory. But the president ought to have, you know...
Making tell them, say, they go check this thing again.
Yes.
Don't be say this long drama we don't get.
Yes, yeah, because it's better for you to nip it in the bud than for you to sign it into law. And then, because when you sign into law and ask National Assembly
to go and
amend it, you see, it is their prerogative to amend. But if you veto it,
they don't get choice than to go back.
They will know that this is serious. Let's look at this and let's retweak it. There are a lot of things actually went wrong in the amendments. As at the third veto, there were a lot of cross-referencing errors. They did it to a point where, at that time, the Electoral Act says that every political party should submit their candidates, the nomination of their candidate, 90 days to election. Okay, now it's 180 days to election in the new act now. Okay, but at that time, they're having a lot of issues with those cross-referencing errors. So that's why the president had to withhold assent up until when he gave assent.
Okay, Barrister, at least the one we don't talk now, you could just hold on I know say you also need, and the matter still continues. And another important thing I also need to tell our viewers, we go open our phone line very, very soon for now to also feel calling, may not contribute because the matter still dey very hot because we also want to hear on our views. And we'll still get our guest, Oga Evans, and legal practitioner and political analyst for House. And we'll still discuss this matter we get to do with Electoral Act 2022 and how if we ensure, say, election coming 2023, at least it will fit day smooth. You know, will be all those challenges we they get previously. So, Oga Evans,
yeah.
Let me take them forward. Make we talk about this present drama they play out between the CBN governor and INEC. What will be your position? Looking at the whole contradiction, Shay will talk say the position of the CBN governor they right, I be the position of INEC they right, or which one they wrong among them?
Well, the CBN governor, by the law that set up the CBN, Section 11.3 of the CBN Act, precludes the CBN governor from involvement on issues of politics. He is supposed to be neutral, okay? As one who sits on the apex bank of the country that drives the Nigerian economy, he is not supposed to be seen in the murky waters of politics, okay? Now, his case is quite surprising because he came up with this assumption that some persons want to preclude him from, contesting election as to be the president of Nigeria, forgetting that the extant law, okay, that created his office, it's actually the law that precludes him from doing that.
JB say he no read the law before he carry the step, ni. Abi
in lawyer just whine am. Lawyer dey whine am.
Because for you to take up such appointment, they don't know the constitution where they guide the office where they take over.
Yes.
So what can be the thing where can't they confuse them in this case? So it's not something of self-interest have been awaiting.
First of all, they started by saying that some faceless farmers bought form for him, and then he denied that. After he denied that, the next working day, which was on Monday, he is in court with accelerated filing and hearing. The matter was filed, assigned, and was to be heard within 24 hours. He's in court he's in court with the assumption that somebody somewhere wants to stop him. Now, he took the INEC and AGF to court. Though it was an ex parte application, what ex parte means is that you file a case without serving the other party and ask the court to grant you an injunction to restrain them from. Now, why that is very wrong is that under our law, there's what we call course of action. Course of action is you must show that you have a case. You must show that you have been aggrieved, okay? And as a result of that, you have suffered some injury or damages. Therefore, you are filing an application asking the court to restrain the respondent from that action. The action is taken or about to take or that is likely to take so that you will not suffer more injury. That is what you do under our law. But here you have a man who sat down and then just assumed some imaginary enemies, okay? The next thing, he contacted his lawyer who also instigated him further, and then they are in court, asking the court to, that is why the court says you go and put the adverse party on notice. The adverse party will mean AGF and INEC. Go and put them on notice so that they will file counter affidavit. Because this whole thing is in fact, I have never seen this level of degeneration in terms of cases. We don't even have any precedent for this kind of case.
It never happened before.
We don't have a precedent for this kind of case because, you see, Lord Denning in UAC versus Markford said that if a matter is void in law is a nullity, as you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand, it will collapse. Do you understand? You cannot file an action on a non-existent grief. So it's like you just wake up in the morning, If we allow this to pass, it will mean that our courts will be if you dream now.
You go out to say person they pursue you for dream.
Maybe your neighbor, you know, you understand. So the next thing you will do, you go and file an action
against your.
And then a dream is not material evidence. You cannot use it to enforce anything. That is just what is going on here. So I think the court will definitely make a decision.
Barrister, it is good say our courts they clear people as then they come, so that people go understand. Say get some kind of things where they say if he never be sort where you go hold for hand, you not go for use them do anything. Another matter when we go need clearance get to do with the one about resignation, because for different interview we don't hear somebody like the Minister for Labour, Oga Chris Ngige, they talk say the law they clear on when he supposed resign. Say nobody go stampede them to resign. But today we hear say the Minister for State for Education been carrying letter go. And after the FEC meeting, Oga President come talk say anybody will get interest, make the person carry letter come talk say he know they do again. Wetin be that thing when cause controversy when some people they talk say 30 days before election, 180 days before election, 90 days before election. Wetin be the exact position of the law as it concern political appointees and resignation before election?
Well, you see, the fact is that the Electoral Act says before you can contest for election, you know, your names have to go in, okay, 180 days for election.
Okay.
Your name have to go in. So that implies invariably that you ought to, if truly you are contesting, you ought to resign your appointment, okay? You ought to resign your appointment because that is still the position, okay, before today, when the court now said that that section is also discriminatory. But the whole thing still rests on the fact that the Court of Appeal did not make any consequential order today. Because there should have been a consequential order to say, okay, if you are now saying that this person who first of all filed the case, the lawyer, and the court gave that judgment to Umaya, and now you are saying that lawyer doesn't have local standard, it doesn't have the power to have filed that case, and then you dismiss it. And you now went further to say that even though you have dismissed it, what the man brought forth before the court, that section is also discriminating. Okay, it's discriminatory to all other parties and all that. There should have been a consequential order. Is it discriminatory to the extent that that provision is hereby extinguished or struck down, just like the Federal High Court, or what? That is what we did not see, this judgment.
So even this judgment itself, he no put end to the discussion.
No, it didn't.
Discussion continue.
So we're going to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will now do the needful. I hope that the Supreme Court will be fast enough to decide it so that those who want to contest and they are still serving will know their fate. Because if the Supreme Court does not put a rest to this thing, whether you are resigning or not resigning, the apex court in the land have not given the final statement.
Very true.
For those who are putting up their resignation letter now, I think it's even premature. It's premature because the Supreme Court, yes, Supreme Court have not spoken. Even if the president said do that, the president is not. The word of the president is not law. The president is not law. The president can only sack. Okay, he has that right to sack. But he doesn't have the right to compel you to resign.
Okay, Barrister Evans, we go open our telephone lines now so that people go call us and talk their mind as they concern this particular matter. So we don't paste our telephone numbers on top of the screen. We know say get people when we say they go like hear our voice as we call out the number so that it go sweet them. So the number now 080-9031-8940. This same number now, copy and paste. Come out that 40, put 30 for the back of that number and call us. Remember, turn down the volume of your television or come out for parlor. If you and your neighbors then they watch, you want me to know say you call the Ogbonge television political discussion show so that we go hear you, then go hear you, and everybody go hear you clearly. If you get question about the Electoral Act 2022 to ask Barrister Evans Ufeli, feel free. If you want to come out inside, feel free. We won't take as many calls as possible. So tell us your name, where you call from. Just go straight to the point and then give chance so that another person will come out on top of this particular matter. So now, Barrister, make I ask this important question before our calls begin to enter inside our phone lines. It be like say this Electoral Act 2022. You don't talk say the good side day. You also talk say it get bad. Everybody knows say good go day, bad go day. But it be like say this Electoral Act 2022 not really. If for something when Oga President reject those number of times, it not really be that thing when we go look say at least though if we hold this one well, we go know say we don't rest. You get any advice for our lawmakers? But before you answer that one, Musiliu, they call us all the way from Osun State. Musiliu, welcome to the show. Fire down, we dey hear you.
Musiliu, you did there?
Hello, Musiliu. If you like say Musiliu won't test our telephone line, whether the thing they connect with the remaining 2 naira when he get on top of his phone. As he call our pick and the thing shock him. I don't know whether na laughing they laugh or na crying they cry. But Musiliu, load your phone, make you call us and talk your mind as it take, because I know they flash us with 2 naira. Barrister, make we answer that question. Yes. You get any advice of our lawmakers them as it take concern this law so and whether they feel do who the team make it catch out more so that all these guys small quarrel where they come from him, we no go see him again.
Well, if the National Assembly had listened to the president to amend it, it would have been okay. But that issue is not really fundamental as such. The Electoral Act has taken care of the real issues, and that's the issue of rigging.
Okay.
Because you see, rigging throws up the wrong people. Okay, those who compromise the standard, compromise the system and all that. But now the Act has taken care of that. Okay. These issues we are dealing with now are issues that can be cured. They are not. These issues won't throw up the wrong persons. Yes.
Barrister, no verse. We'll go Port Harcourt. Diligence, they wait diligently. Oga Diligent, welcome to the show.
Diligence. Oh, wow. Okay, Oga Evans, you get what we just where you mentioned, we get to do with say electoral and the electoral this thing don't act. Don't also cover up the issue of rigging and all that. Okay, if we can't look election beyond just electronic system, take them to villages. You mentioned villages as well. Take them to villages. We know how some of these areas, the amount of malpractices where they happen there, and also considering the fact, say, light, because for you to also say you want to run electronic, you go still need light to power all these things. How it is say we know we get iotas of election malpractices, considering the fact say this same law go also take care of them.
Well, there will be malpractice. It's not as if there will not be malpractice at all. Because yes, it's not as if there will be no malpractice. Because since you have human elements that will operate these things, you understand? You see, the Electoral Acts, we don't know what it can do even about vote buying. Because this one is buying and selling. Okay? So, but what you talked about, there will be malpractice. So, in as much as we have electronic transmission, we also need to talk about citizens' political capital, citizens doing the right thing during the election. That is a part where we have problem. Most people are ready to collect money from politicians and compromise everything. So this set of persons, INEC will need to recruit the right set of persons for this election. Otherwise, even with the electronic everything, if you have the wrong person operating it, you are still going to have problem because you start to impute what is not there. Then we're all going to land at the election petition, where we'll now begin to bring evidence to look at what was imputed and transmitted and what was in the ballot box. Where you have disparity, you find out that somebody must have compromised something. So let's have the right. If you want to change Nigeria, it's not just by electronic. There are a lot of issues.
The right people supposed to be there. Make we enter inside Asaba. Hopefully this caller will change the condition of our telephone line. Gift. Be a gift to us. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Hello?
We dey hear you, Gift. Just they talk, they go.
I dey hear you.
Oh yeah, they talk. We dey hear you.
This coming from my server. Hello?
We dey hear you.
They talk, they go, Gift.
I hear you. Good evening. Now, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
See, I beg, gift. We don't only they talk this thing. Anybody who won't call us, I beg. Make sure say you bring the volume of your TV down. Bring them down. Not even remain as small. Bring them down completely. Now that's way we go fit take communicate. And if you also say maybe you get people where you dey watch with, come out there completely. Go call us from outside so that we go fit hear you. Say go fit hear us. The communication go fit do it. You go fit flow. I beg.
Barrister, make I ask you this question. It be like say every time when they approach general elections, one new thing they happen when go give us headache. In this case now, the AGF, from some of the videos where we don't see and some kind of accusation where they don't carry put for a head. Some people don't say, be like say into one contest to become governor of Kebbi State. And it can be like say, the A don't come out. Now GF now remain for the work when we say in they do. You think say somehow, the personal ambition or the political ambition of these people go affect whether the person a minister or whether the person maybe some sort of advisor. You think say the political ambition of that person go affect the work when we say the person they do?
Definitely now. It will affect it.
And a good have been a bad?
No, bad, because he is no longer focused. He's looking at the future, and he does not want to relinquish the present.
Hey.
You understand?
So one hand there and one hand there.
So it's not good for our democracy.
Barrister Noves, diligent from Port Harcourt, diligent. This call no dey diligent at all. Diligent. Diligent.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they talk. Just they talk. Don't greet us. Just they talk.
Okay. On a good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I greet all of us for the studio. I'm happy for this great conversation. Hello?
Good day, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh yeah, just they talk. Just they
Can you
talk.
hear
They
me?
go. Yes, we can hear you. They talk. They go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, I talk.
I say I greet on for studio.
We greet you
don't
back.
respond.
Oh yeah, just
I
talk.
want talk for this matter now. Be say,
Hey.
why is it be say when we don't dey near election, now they go come begin to change the Electoral Act of one section or the other.
Okay.
Okay. We don't get your question. Thank you very much, diligent. We'll get
Hello?
another person. We'll get another person with our telephone line. Temi Dayo.
Of INEC, the new law of Act of 2022 regards INEC. Please, is there any policy that states that the buying of form of all these APC and PDP 40 million, 100 million naira, is there any law that buys them? That's what I want to know, sir.
Okay, Oga Temidayo, thank you very much. 2 questions now. Diligent been tell us say why he be say now when election time reach, this our law. For some angle, it go they look like this. For some angle, it go they look like that. They won't change that. Then Temidayo can talk about the money when political parties. He mentioned the 2 major political parties when then they spend. He say he get anything inside our law when really they checkmate all these kind of things. Over to you, Barrister.
Well, let me answer the first one. It's not as if it's when we get to election that they start to change the law. The president signed the new Electoral Act at the wake of the election period, like 2 years to election. That's when he signed it. So it wasn't a deliberate attempt to twist anything. If you look at the Electoral Act, there's a lot of improvements, apart from maybe these little ones we're having now, those issues that the president had asked the National Assembly to correct before now. So I don't think it's when election is coming close. You see, because our politicians have maltreated us to a point where we suspect every move. And that's what that guy is asking. It's like, he's feeling like this thing is deliberate. But it's not deliberate, you understand? Then your second question has to do with...
the sale of forms. Whether anything they inside our law.
The sale of forms and then
the exorbitant price.
The exorbitant price. You see, the different political parties have their different constitution. Okay, and the electoral as this stands also. But when you look at the decisions made, decisions are actually party-based. Okay, like the reason they gave, APC gave now is that they want to use it to crowdfund campaign. Okay, which I find very faulty and all that, because when you say somebody should bring 100 million, it means that you are creating a new standard of franchise and legitimacy. The Constitution said that for you to be a president of Nigeria, all you need is to be a Nigerian, be of age, and then get SSE and other this thing. That's what the constitution. But now the party, they have altered that with their own.
So your pocket
party
must
policy.
swell up.
Yes, that there's now a secondary qualification, and the secondary qualification now is that you need
Your
to have
pocket must swell up.
and all that, and that erodes democracy.
Okay, we get Ndubisi all the way from Enugu. Ndubisi, I hope you go connect with us this time around.
They hear you. Just they talk, they go into BC.
Yes, I will collect call. Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
This electoral act, this is what I want to talk about. This vision of appointees, the things.
Ndubisi, I beg you go change the location.
Like someone like.
Ndubisi, I beg you go change the location. But if you like say what you want to talk about now, I hear appointees. Maybe they talk about political appointees. I didn't want to mention one person name.
Yeah.
As the situation dey like this, to the Oga President don't talk say if you get interest to come submit your letters. We go padlock our telephone lines now. Just allow our Ogbonge visitor just finish this talk for this particular matter. So remember say anything we concern law no dey finish because now waiting we must behave ourselves as it take concern now. We believe say Barrister Evans fail, he go be person when we say he go still come here. Anytime when they talk about the law and the politics of the matter, as we discuss as the hot, making the chook mouth inside. But before we go, Barrister, you been won't give advice to our lawmakers at one point. You balance the thing, but I go like make you talk am again because lawmaking the cocoa. If the foundation no strong, it go create more problems for us.
Yes.
What do you go advise them finally?
Yes, my advice to our lawmakers is that they should look at the laws proper and look at areas that citizens, that will improve the life of citizens. You see, because Section 14(2) of the Constitution already says the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. So if the security and welfare of the citizens is the primary purpose of government, it means that they should have legislation that will address public health care. That is very critical, public health care. Because this thing they do now that they go abroad to treat themselves and then come back here. We need a legislation on public health care. We need a legislation on education.
This has to strike.
Yes, proper legislation. We need legislation on agriculture. We need legislation on these basic areas that will improve the life of the people. If you have good laws on education and the schools are standard, the lecturers are well paid and motivated, and then those who graduate from school get job and they are doing well, there will be a reduction in crime and criminality. It is because those who were abandoned, at some point in their life, they are the insurgents that we have today.
Very true.
They are the bandits that we have today because of neglect. So when government abdicates her responsibility, the government will have to spend more. If you see what they budget for defense every year, it far outweighs capital project. It outweighs it because now defense is not like recurrent expenditure. It's like salary. It has to come in huge lump sum. It's in first line charge. The money must be...
He must come out.
You understand? So let us have laws that will take care of the citizens of the country. That is how to develop a society.
Very true. Barrister, thank you very much. Say you carry Waka come our studio and say you don't open our eyes as it take concern the Electoral Act of 2022. And most importantly, this is where you don't talk about our lawmakers and the things we say they're supposed to do to ensure, say, our country, they better. You do what we appreciate. This your wisdom, the thing not go finish. God go continue to add more so that from the things where you know, you go to teach Nigerians and our eyes go continue to open. Our people went there for house. Now, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 o'clock, go reach 8 o'clock for evening. Now with the day on top of acid hot. All the action to the way they come out smoke inside Nigeria political boxing ring. Now we they discuss for here. Make una peace before una sleep. Continue to watch Wazobia TV, Wazobia Max TV because now the Ogbonge television station when they inside Obodo the world.